Ooh, we have a good saga for you today. This is a story about how your family, your best friend, your boyfriend can all conspire against you to do something that is completely wrong under any circumstances. But you're going to see how this person dealt with it. It's like a multi year saga. And, you know, let's see what we can do while we learn from others. It starts. This is a long story that really started some 15 years ago. It really impacted my life, so please bear with me. When I was 18 and in my senior year of high school, I really believed my life was on a good track. I lived with my parents and 4 siblings and spent most of my days hanging out with my best friend Ashley and or my boyfriend of 3 years, Kyle. Both Ashley's and Kyle's parents were best friends with my parents, so I knew both of them since we were in diapers. We spent holidays together, birthdays, and visited each other all the time as we lived in the same town. Ashley's been my friend for 18 years, and she truly was the person I trusted with everything. Sometimes our parents would joke that we are connected by the hip as we are together all the time. I've been dating Kyle for the last 3 years. I believed he was the love of my life and the one I would eventually marry. We were quite serious and even talked about getting married after he finished college. He was a sophomore at that point. Although I had every plan on going to university, I was quite content with the idea of being married to Kyle and being a stay-at-home mom. My parents loved Kyle and supported our relationship. I really was happy. I think I should note here that my sister, who was 20, was also dating Kyle's brother, 23, and that all our siblings were very close. All right, let me stop here. Okay, so I just want to say you have a lot of 20-year-old males dating a teenager. I mean, she's 18, but, and they started 3 years ago, so I guess there's a little bit wiggle room, but, just something to keep an eye on. One day, at the beginning of the school year, I noticed that Ashley was being very melancholic and detached. After a while of prodding, she told me she was pregnant. I was very surprised because I didn't know she and her boyfriend broke up a while ago, and I didn't know that she had anyone else like that in her life. Red flag. I asked her who the father was, and she didn't want to talk about it, but in a way implied that the ex was the father. She was absolutely distraught, so I dropped the topic and just consoled her. I was with her when she told her family, and while her parents were disappointed, they promised to support her in whatever she decides. They tried to make her share the dad's name, but she refused and made me promise to stay quiet. They did not know she had a boyfriend at one point. I was there for her for the next 9 months. I went with her for an ultrasound, doctor's appointments. I was there for her when she was bullied in school for being pregnant. I helped her and set up the nursery. I was there when she was sick or just felt down. I held a baby shower for her, went shopping with her. I even took some parenting classes with her. We chose names together, and she even asked me to be with her in the delivery room. I noticed that the pregnancy was really taking a toll on her emotionally and physically, and I tried to support her in every way possible. She was my best friend, always there for me, and I loved her. Some 2 weeks before her due date, I went to the mall to run some errands and ran into her ex. Although I promised never to contact her, the knowledge of my friend's emotional state sent me into a fit of anger, and I confronted him. I gave him a piece of my mind, told him what a piece of crap he was for leaving his ex pregnant and alone and not caring for his unborn child. He was shocked and said that he had no idea what I was talking about. Ashley never told him about the pregnancy, and when I told him she was 9 months pregnant at the time, he said that it was not possible for him to be the father as they broke up over a year ago, and had no relation since then. I was confused, but apologized for yelling at him in the middle of the mall. Good person. After that, he became snarky, said some nasty stuff, and mentioned that maybe I should ask Ashley's friend Kyle if he is the daddy. I didn't really think about his words in any way. Kyle and Ashley have been friends their entire lives. We were always very close because of our parents' relationship, but they never showed any sign of being anything more. That evening, my sister, who was 14, and I were preparing to have a movie night. I began ranting to her about confronting Ashley's ex and his words. My sister, who was usually very outspoken, got quiet and didn't really respond to anything I said. After a while, she excused herself and went to the bathroom. I decided to go and get some snacks and went downstairs to the kitchen and heard younger sister berating my mother. This part of my memory is really fuzzy as I was dealing with lots of emotions. My sister told my mom about me running into Ashley's ex and his words and told my mom she no longer wanted to hide from me the fact that Kyle was Ashley's baby's father. Bum, bum, bum. I was shocked, absolutely shocked. I stumbled into the kitchen and demanded an explanation. Both my mom and my sister became white as a sheet when they saw me and my sister started crying her eyes out. My sister explained to me some things I also learned from other people later that appeared during the end of the summer break. Kyle and Ashley attended the same house party, got drunk, and slept together. Ashley got pregnant and told Kyle, but they were both ashamed and afraid of telling me. They also didn't share this with their parents. Ashley, however, couldn't keep the secret and told her mom and dad, who told Kyle's parents and later to mine as well. This all happened when Ashley was in her first trimester. By her second trimester, all of my siblings, Kyle's and Ashley's siblings, knew about this. Everyone except for me. I simply cannot explain the way I felt. I was physically ill for the next 3 days and I couldn't speak to anyone. My parents were apologetic, but explained that they didn't want to see me hurt or ruin everyone's relationship. I did not speak with Kyle or Ashley, although they bombarded my phone with messages and calls and also came to my house. I refused to see them. At one point, Kyle's mom came to our house and my mom allowed her into my room. While I was lying in bed, still ill and just emotionally drained from the betrayal, she tried to convince me to forgive them and how Ashley and the baby need me. I said nothing. 2 weeks later, Ashley went into labor. I learned from my parents that she had a hard delivery, she lost a lot of blood and needed an emergency C-section. Kyle apparently was at the birth. I was distraught, inconsolable, because of the betrayal by both, because I planned to be there and now physically and emotionally couldn't because I was looking forward to this moment for months. So many reasons. My older sister immediately went to the hospital to be with her boyfriend. My other siblings weren't at home, so I was left alone with my parents. All I wanted was to lay in my bed or cuddle in my bed with my mom and cry all my feelings out. My mom received a call from Ashley's mom. She came to my room and told me that she and dad were going to the hospital. I was perplexed and asked her to stay with me. She said that Ashley's parents need all the support they can get and that we will discuss everything later. Wow, bad parents. I tried to tell her not to go and that I also needed their support, but she said not to be selfish, and then they left. I was left alone at the house and I just couldn't comprehend what happened in the last few weeks. I couldn't believe that my parent would go and support someone who hurt me so much while I was also here suffering. Am I really selfish to think like that? I don't know when, but my sadness turned into rage, the kind I never experienced before. In a fit of combined emotions and feelings of betrayal, I started packing my bags and decided to leave home. It didn't take a while, but I started having second thoughts and just sat in the living room feeling empty. After a while, I received a text from my sister. The text said that Ashley gave birth to a healthy girl and that they were both okay. Why would I care anymore? She attached a pic of the newborn and told me they named her Sarah, the name Ashley and I chose some months ago. She sent a second text a while later telling me that my parents and she were going to join Ashley's and Kyle's parents and going to a bar in the town to celebrate. I don't remember much after that. I think I was just consumed by everything and my memory is very foggy. I left. I took a train and left. I stayed at a hostel in Phoenix for a while. I got a job at a store and planned to finish high school there. My parents, siblings, Kyle, and Ashley tried to contact me. My mom was sending me a panicked voicemail demanding me to come back. They also reported me as a missing person, but I don't think it went anywhere as I was 18. Anyway, soon afterward, I met Dean. He also lived in Phoenix and had a complicated relationship with his family. We really connected and became friends soon. He helped me a lot at that time. I struggled. I had no idea how to take care of myself or how to literally be an adult. He introduced me to his group of friends, helped me finish high school. I moved in with him and his friends. He helped me deal with my pain. I really struggled at one point and also had some regrets. I wanted to see a therapist, but I most definitely couldn't afford it. He was there for me and supported me through everything, and I don't think I would have lasted long without him. We began dating after a year. He inherited some money from his grandpa and decided to move across the country to the big city. Although we weren't together for long, he asked me to go with him. I was a bit reluctant because we both had a lot of emotional baggage and I was still very insecure in my situation. But I did go. We moved, got jobs, and tried to survive. Soon after my 21st birthday, we decided to get married. It was crazy, spontaneous decision, but we did it. I enrolled in university and Dean helped me pay for it. He himself opened a company that took off and we were able to live more comfortably. I was in uni and also worked a part-time job to contribute. We had our ups and downs, but somehow I survived. After uni, I started working in his company and we slowly built it up. When I look back now, I don't think I was in love with Dean when we got married. I loved him, but I wasn't in love. But he was there for me, always, unconditionally. And today, I don't think I could love him more. He is the love of my life. We've been married for 12 years now, and we have a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old son. Sometimes I regretted leaving my family behind, but I just couldn't go back. It was very painful. I felt like my parents chose Ashley and Kyle over me. I did go to a therapist when I was 25 and tried to deal with my emotions. Last year, at the beginning of the pandemic, I received an email from a 14-year-old girl named Evelyn. She explained that she was my niece, my oldest sister's and Kyle's brother's kid. She knew about me and wanted to meet me. Although I was reluctant to speak to her, we did exchange some emails. Let me note that she did not know what transpired 15 years ago, so the conversations were pretty innocent. We talked about her school, interests, and she talked about my family. I learned I had 10 nieces and nephews. Wow, they grow fast in Phoenix. I also learned that Kyle married Ashley 4 years after I left and had 2 sons besides Sarah. My parents continued to have a friendship with Kyle's and Ashley's family, and to me, it really felt like my family continued their normal life despite me being gone. Well, you can't really blame them. She tried to talk to me about what happened, but I didn't really think it was my place to explain things to her. So I simply said that relationships change and things happen in life that make us go our separate ways. We continued talking ever so often for almost a year. In her email this January, she expressed how the pandemic had a big effect on her entire family and how my parents were struggling to keep their house and both my brothers lost their jobs and struggled to keep up with the costs. I was surprised at her knowledge of this as she was only 14, but the hardship was also causing tensions between her parents. I started to deal with a lot of guilty feelings and regrets. I also just had my baby, so that was causing me lots of emotions. I talked to my husband, and he was very supportive and told me that he would be there for me for whatever I decide. We were financially stable, and the pandemic didn't have a great impact on our finances. Good for you. We were not rich, but we were able to live comfortably. After learning some more details and talking with Dean, we decided to help my parents with their house. A week ago, we flew back to my home state. I saw my family for the first time in 15 years. I had so many emotions, regrets, pains from the past, feelings of betrayal. My parent was, I think, relieved to see me. It was just such a weird day. We had a lengthy conversation and agreed to try and have some sort of cordial relationship. It's been so long and I'm very awkward with them. Sometimes they feel like strangers. Dean and I spent a week there and we continued to have a conversation, and I truly believed that we were on a path to having a friendly, yet distant relationship. But then my mom started insisting I have a sit-down conversation with Kyle and Ashley. Why? She explained that she wants to go back to the way things were. I told her I refused to talk to them. Although I moved on, I simply have no ties with them now and don't want to rehash anything with them. I told her I'm prepared to try and establish a relationship with them as they are my family, and I truly came to care for my niece, but that I don't want anything to do with Kyle, Ashley, or their family. I never demanded them to cease their relationship with their friends, but I don't want one. Dean supports me. My mom called me selfish and said that I simply must try and heal our relationship. I told her I will not negotiate and that it's on her to decide whether or not she wants to have a relationship with me. She said, okay. But 2 days later, I received a phone call from Kyle's mom. I did not give her my number. And she demanded, yes, demanded, I talk with Kyle and Ashley as my return caused tensions in their relationships and their emotional health. I hung up. Good call. I called my mom and confronted her. Apparently, she gave that woman my number to heal our family bonds. I told her that she is choosing them over me again. She cried and yelled at me that I am selfish and that she just wants her family back. I hung up. Good call again. It's been days since I spoke to any of them, although my mom and Kyle's mom kept on calling. Although I think I'm right and I believe I should prioritize my well-being and the well-being and happiness of my husband, who has been behind me 100% and even told my mom off. I'm starting to have some regrets. I don't know if I should listen to my mom and speak to Ashley and Kyle. I question whether I was overreacting 15 years ago. I'm questioning whether I am truly being selfish or not actively trying to repair the relationship. I would really appreciate any advice or opinion on what to do in this situation. Suddenly, I'm questioning the entire course of my life. I am so lost and I don't know what to do. Okay, so that is part 1 of everything right now. Like, there's an update, but let's just talk about this for a second. Now, everybody knows, well, not everybody, because my channel is like nobody. I'm brand new at this, but I'm not brand new at giving advice, okay? I am a fan of always trying to mend family relationships and family bonds. I think sometimes people go no contact or low contact way too soon without trying to actually fix this. Now, the reason why I say that is because of my POV of the world. Now, we may have friends and associates and coworkers or whatever that are our friends or in our life, but as you get older, you realize that that tends to be transitory or temporary. You move, you do things, your best friend from high school won't be your best friend at your, retirement party. Usually. Sometimes that works out, but usually. So, in most cases, I really say try to work it out, because not only will you strengthen your bonds, but you will also learn great conflict resolution. And that's very important, so that when things go wrong in your life, you have somebody in this world that you can lean on. Now, there are always exceptions to the rules. This exception, I'm going to make. I mean, what they did in the beginning, horrible. But we all make mistakes. Like, that happens. But then you come back 15 years later, try to give them another chance, and here they are, still trying to do the same thing. They can't even respect your own wishes, and you will be continually going to this cycle. Now, I don't think I would go no contact, but I would probably go super duper 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 low contact. Just for the sanity of my health and my marriage and my relationship. And more importantly, you got kids now. They're going to rely on you. And if you're all messed up in your mental, you won't be setting a good example for them. And that's paramount now. You have your own family. So let's see what happens. There's an update from 2 years after she posted this. It says, my gosh, it's been 2 years since I posted this. A lot of people have been asking me for an update. First of all, I want to thank all the wonderful people who have been sending me updates and lovely messages. I am truly grateful. A lot of things have happened in the last few years. Not all great. Without making these 100 pages long, I never mentioned my little sister in my original post. Her relationship with my parents went downhill after my parents... Sorry, her relationship with my parents went downhill after I left home. And she went no contact with them when I was 20. Ooh, I see a pattern developing. I received her number from our oldest sister, and although it was awkward at first, it's been 15 years after all. We did start speaking again. She was very angry at me for leaving. A lot has happened in her life, and it wasn't the easiest. She has a toddler and a baby of her own, and I have to say that the kids have helped us bond again. She's my best friend, and we talk every day. As for my other siblings, I'm in regular contact with both my brothers, although we aren't close. That's fine. My oldest sister and I have a good relationship now, but last year we've had a longer period of not speaking, as she is married to Kyle's brother, and it was hard for her to deal with all our family and their family drama. We are cool now, and I have a lovely relationship with my nieces and nephews. I didn't go to my niece's birthday party. It just seemed like it would be too hard for me. Now, to my parents. This one is a little painful for me to write, and at the time, it felt like I was reliving all those crappy emotions I had at 18. My mom didn't let up with her persisting over me not talking with Kyle and Ashley. Get a grip, Mom. Get a grip. Her calls for that continued for months, even after I was home again. It bordered on emotional blackmail. She blamed me for not honoring her wishes, for her friendship problems and health problems, and even accused me of keeping her grandbabies from her. Last June, I had a daughter, and it seems like that sent her completely over the rails. What I mean by that, 100 plus calls a day, messages every 20 minutes to pester me about random things, sending me updates about people I never want to know about. When she started pestering Dean, I was done. I was afraid to block her, so I spoke to my father. This was probably the first time in the last 17 years that we had a true heart-to-heart conversation. I was emotionally drained, tired from caring for 3 children, and just over everything. I probably poured all my feeling and emotions into him. I don't know what happened to them afterward. He didn't speak much about it. Her calls slowly ceased, and something else must have happened because in August, he filed for divorce. My father and I are in regular contact, although I don't think we'll ever be back to normal. Mom is devastated. Actions have consequences. In August, her calls became insane, and apparently not just with me. I've changed my number since then, and as of February, she has not been able to reach me. I've been told by one of my brothers that she has problems with anxiety and depression and lost a lot of friends. I really don't know whether or not she continues to have a relationship with Kyle and Ashley's family. I don't want to have anything to do with her anymore, nor do I want her near my kids. The things that she said to me, about me, and about my husband, whom she really doesn't know, and after 15 years of no contact, is crazy. Although I regret not having a mom, I feel like trying and fighting to repair the little remnants of our relationship would be a waste of my emotional energy and just pure torture. As for Kyle and Ashley, I've received some calls from Kyle's mom, as I mentioned in my original post. I blocked her, and no other calls have been received from anyone. I really don't know what they are doing or where they are. I've had no contact with them. The only thing that really happened is that in August, when the crap went downhill, my brother-in-law, Kyle's brother, brought me a letter apparently written by Ashley. I've not opened it, and I really don't know if I want to. I feel like I've moved on from them, but on the other hand, I'm curious as to what she has to say after so many years. However, that in and of itself can bring back bad emotions. I'm doing okay now with my babies and Dean, who is a real trooper in all of this. I'm trying to focus on my family, and I really hope that this is all behind me. And then she just goes on to thank everybody for the comments. Now, once again, this channel is not giving advice to this poster. That's not what I do. This is about learning from others, giving advice to people watching this, because even though she put a lot of stuff in here, we don't know all of the things that happened. So we just take this on face value as if it is true and use it as an example to do different things if we're ever kind of caught in these situations. Now, I gotta say, sometimes I'm, fighting with the outcome or other comments or advice that other people get. But this time, I really gotta say, brava for an 18-year-old woman being thrust out unexpectedly on her own, this woman has done phenomenal, and I applaud her for that. That takes a lot of strength of character. So maybe, her parents did some sort of great upbringing at some point, but at this point, you gave everybody a shot. They still, went crazy and didn't respect your wishes, didn't respect your mental health, didn't respect your husband, definitely would not let them around the kids. And at this point, I would have had to cut my mom off. And it's great. She gave her dad a chance. Her dad, came to his senses. He understood. He tried to have a conversation with his mom, assuming that's what happened. And he realized that there was really no reasoning or anything he could really do with her that was going to make it work. So he filed for divorce. I gotta say, if her behavior with her daughter is indicative of how she treats the rest of the family, I wouldn't be surprised. Although I'm not a big fan of divorce either. But, sometimes life keeps on lifing and you gotta do different things. But, once again, be strong about yourself. Try to do the best things. Keep the people in your life who are helping you. Keep the people who are not out of your life. And if some of those people are family, really try to work with them. They're really your only team members in this life that we initially get. Sometimes we can add to the team with our friends and who we wind up in, relationships with. But your family, I've seen a lot of people who went through a lot of things on their own because of them being on their own. And they wish they would have had a family that they could have leaned on. Those times are tough. But if your family is the obstacle and they keep dragging you down with all the chances you give them, you got to cut them out. So that's it for today. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate anybody who's on this channel right now. I think I have like 3 subscribers. So if you like what you see here, I'm trying a couple different things. Everybody has to beg for subscribers. So I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to take a message from somebody else on YouTube I heard. Give me the HBO special. That's the Help a Brother Out special by subscribing. And hopefully you can use some of these tips and tricks in your life and have a better outcome. Until next time.
15 years seems so long since the days when it went wrong. My best friend and my old flame left my life in a world of pain. I ran away, young and wild. Heart was broken like a child. Family knew but never said. My trust in them was left for dead. Now mama says mend the ties, but it's hard to forget those lies. Back in touch but the scars remain, trying to heal from all this pain. I see their faces in my dreams, hear their voices in my screams. Time has passed but it still feels new, not sure what to say or do. Mama says it's meant to be, but I still struggle to be free. Should I forgive and try again, or let go of old best friend? Life's too short to hold a grudge, but my heart won't let me budge. Oh, I wish they'd understand, it's tough to lend a helping hand. Says mend the ties, but it's hard to forget those lies. Back in touch but the scars remain, trying to heal from all this pain. Now mama says mend the ties, but it's hard to forget those lies. Back in touch but the scars remain, trying to heal from all this pain. I see their faces in my dreams, hear their voices in my screams. Time has passed, but it still feels new, not sure what to say or do.